Unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica from the scrapbooks of Adrian Freighter. Since lottery scamming took a hold in Jamaica back in the early 2000s, when the late Kenrick Baby Stevenson came to the fore as the man with the skills to crack the code, that is, getting the information needed to fool unsuspecting Americans into paying out cash to get the proceeds of a non-existent sweepstake, many youngsters have joined the game and have become known as top players or choppers. While scamming went on pretty much without any additional security measures in the early days, the Jamaican government was forced to initiate a crackdown in 2012 when their US counterparts began to push them to take drastic action as more and more horror stories began emerging about elderly Americans committing suicide after being fleeced of their life savings by Jamaican scammers, with the US authorities breathing down the necks of their Jamaican counterparts, demanding changes in the law to make it easier to target, arrest and extradite scammers. It opened the door to a big cat and mouse game between the police and the scammers as both tried to outsmart the other. In what was considered a major move to break the back of scamming, the Jamaica government created an anti-lottery scamming task force which featured local and international police personnel who operated under an initiative called JOLT, Jamaica Operation Linked to Telemarketing. They were given just one task, and that was to break the back of scamming. At the time that initiative was launched in Jamaica, the government declared that in addition to the concerns raised by the Americans, scamming was also doing great harm to the local business process outsourcing sector, as it was widely believed that the documents being used to con the Americans were being illicitly stolen from the local call centers where workers had access to the credit card information of Americans who did online business. In this edition of Lest You Forget, I will be looking back at how local scammers milked the United States like a cow in 2011 and 2012 from a story I wrote for the Gleaner, which was published on February 26, 2012, under the headline, The Big MoBay Ripoff. The story read as follows. Despite several new initiatives, including the formation of Jamaica's operations linked to telemarketing, JOLT, a unit comprising local police and their international partners, the infamous Montego Bay based lotto scam continues to hang on like the proverbial cat with 9 lives. However, buoyed by a series of recent arrests and the seizure of millions of dollars in ill-gotten assets, Assistant Commissioner of Police Les Green, head of the Major Intelligence Task Force MIT, is adamant that the police will not relent until all 9 lives of the proverbial lotto cat are snuffed out. We are now enjoying a lot of success and we are expecting more success, ACP Green told the Sunday Gleaner in an interview last week. There will be no slowing down. We are always gathering intelligence to use against criminals. Last weekend, the ACP Carl Williams-led Aaron Police launched a major initiative against alleged lotto scammers in Rose Heights and Ryan Park in St. James, arresting 31 persons and seizing several high-end vehicles, including a late model BMW and a Lexus with a combined value of over Jamaican $50 million. The lotto scam, which is one of many illicit get-rich-quick schemes that have surfaced in St. James in recent years, started in the Granville area of the parish in 2006 and has since blanketed several communities. Senior Superintendent of Police Lynette Williams-Martin, head of the St. James Police Division, thinks the relative calm which is now being experienced is as a result of the recent raids in Rose Heights and Ryan Park, which has rocked the criminal underworld. If we can get rid of the scammers, we will be well on our way to getting rid of crime in St. James, SSP Williams-Martin said. The more money these guys have, the more firepower they require to protect themselves. The guns on the streets mean more homicides for the police to deal with. Since the advent of the lotto scam, St. James has been experiencing in excess of 100 murders each year. Prior to the recent raids, the parish was one of the areas experiencing a spike in major crimes, especially murders. However, despite the recent successes by the police, a Montego Bay based scammer who asked not to be identified told the Sunday Gleaner that the game, the popular name for the scam, which relieved unsuspecting Americans of approximately $30 million last year through trickery, is still alive. Scamming can't stop. Players are always devising new ways to stay one step ahead of the police. It is sometimes risky, but it is worth it. While people work out our foreparents in slavery and never pay them, so now it's time for them to pay back, he asserted. The police have confirmed that scammers are constantly coming up with new ways, including using the latest technology to throw the police off their tracks. At a Gleaner Editors Forum in Montego Bay last year, former ACP Denver Freighter, who spearheaded several operations against scammers, said that the crooks had resorted to using laptop and magic jacks to make calls to avoid being traced. In addition to being harder to trace, the laptop and magic jack allow greater mobilities. Scammers have taken the business to the neighboring parishes of Westmoreland and Hanover. Some have even taken their illicit activities out of Jamaica. Scammers are traveling to other Caribbean islands to do their thing, a scammer told the Sunday Gleaner. I know players who go to a small island, spend a few weeks, and come back loaded with cash. However, for the local-based scammers, their mission is to find creative ways to undermine the work of the police. Some are reportedly succeeding. You have players calling clients, pretending to be the police, doing an investigation, the scammer said. The clients are told by the player to send money as part of an investigation, under the belief that the money will be returned after an arrest is made. Of course, they don't know that they are being scammed again. In the meantime, ACP Les Green is confident that with entities like JOLT and the other initiatives such as the Proceeds of Crime Act, which target the illicit earning of scammers, the police are well on their way to belling the proverbial cat. Despite the confidence expressed by the police in that 2012 story, lottery scamming continues to flourish in Jamaica. While the police are blaming the scheme for the explosions in murders, especially in Western Jamaica, for many Jamaicans, some of who are not even involved in the game but are benefiting from the spin-off, thinks it is God sent since it is putting food on their table, ignoring the fact that it brings pain and suffering to other families. While scores of Jamaicans have been arrested and extradited to the United States to stand trial for lottery scamming, it continues to flourish in many communities. However, in looking back to 2012, when Jamaica was left awash with cash from the lottery scam scheme, it was definitely one of those unforgettable stories. Unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica, from the scrapbooks of Adrian Freighter. Before you go, please remember to subscribe.